Helping Celebration Good movie?
Why is helping important? So, helping others learns how to communicate with each other and know when people are in need and when they do need help and when they don't need help, right? And it's really just, it's all about helping each other, right? Get through this crazy adventure that we call life. And yeah. I was in the garden one time helping turn the compost pile. There was an old woman who came into the garden asking for compost. She had a grocery bag full of compost, and so I gave her a couple handfuls of compost and she took it home and started growing things with it. Well, one way that I helped her was teaching her about compost a little bit, and she asked for me to grow her some okra, so I grew her some okra in the garden. She came back week after week and we talked about composting and gardening, and it was a good time.
You can do a lot more with the help of other people than you could just by yourself. A good example of that would be saw somebody throw their apple core on the ground by a road, and they didn't know that it was litter because it was food, and they thought it got decomposed by insects and bugs. And so I made sure that they knew that that apple core or a banana peel or any other sort of food items you throw on the ground are also litter, because they can attract wildlife to those roadways, and that's really dangerous for those animals to be by the road. So I helped them understand why something they didn't think was litter before could also be thought of as litter and can be harmful.
Helping is important because it's good to do good deeds. When you help people, it can brighten somebody's day, and it can also make your day better because you put in that effort to help somebody out. I have helped others learn how to sort through their trash and know what you are able to recycle and what should go in the trash can. I help educate children on how to recycle.
Helping is so important because a lot of people don't have all the same things that we have, or they don't have the same family that we have, or they don't have the same jobs that we have. So if we can help people and make their life a little bit better or a little bit more fun or a little bit easier, then it's a really good thing and we can all be friends and work together. One time when we helped someone was at the laundromat. I have a lot of responsibilities, and so I have to open it and close it and clean it and make sure it's safe and looks good and everything works well. So I needed to hire someone to work for me. And so I looked around the neighborhood to find a friend who would want to work for me. And so one of my friends, his legs are really sick and they don't work very well, so he has to use a wheelchair. So he hasn't really had a job in a long time. But he can work at the laundromat, and he can still sweep, and he can mop, and he can clean the windows, and he can clean the counters. So we were able to give my friend a job even though he was a little bit sick. And so that helped him out a whole lot because he earned some money and he got to talk to people and help everyone in the laundromat.
Helping is important because as people, we should always want to help each other. A couple of times that I've helped people. One time I helped somebody here at the college's ECDC when we had one of our students that had their head stuck in a bucket. And I got the call to come down here and help cut the bucket loose to get their head free. Another time I've helped somebody was at a fire and their dog was still in the house. So I went into a house fire and got their dog out of the house for them. Luckily it was okay.
Helping is important because everybody needs help sometimes, and it feels good to help others, and it makes everybody feel good who is involved. And helping is also what makes us be able to live together on this planet. If we didn't help each other, then it would not be as happy a place to live in. Okay, so a time when I helped someone was when a college student who couldn't hear hardly at all She needed to have her teachers show her in writing what they were saying when they would talk. So even though this student had asked for the teachers talking to be in writing so that she could see it, the teacher wouldn't do it for her. So when I found out about it, I talked to the teacher and told him that this was something that he needed to do because that's what's fair, or this student wouldn't be able to learn anything in that class. And so because I talked to him, he did things differently and he gave the student what she needed.
Time when I helped someone. Well, I had some students, because I'm a professor, I'm a teacher, and they wanted information and they didn't know what to do and they were concerned. So I told them a story one time about how I work with kids. And they said, oh, that makes sense. So sometimes when you tell stories, people make connections. And they say, wait, I had an experience just like that. That story helped me. No one's walking by themselves. No one's a visitor. We're all connected somehow. So when you help other people, they realize that, wait a minute, I'm a lot like you, and you're a lot like me. We all have similar stories and similar experiences.
I think all of us need help sometimes, and we all want somebody to help us when we need it. And I think you have to help other people when they need it. I had a dog that she was pregnant and she was having puppies, but she was having trouble delivering those puppies. They were too big and not doing well, and she was in labor for a really long time, and we had to take her to surgery and help get the puppies out, and it worked. And she was pretty sick for a day or two, but she's home and she's got a happy, healthy puppy, and that felt really good. That was a good time.
It's a way that you can show your kindness and compassion to other people. It definitely makes the world a better place when you care about others and you lend them a helping hand. One really neat thing I get to do with my job is teach a women's self-defense class. So we invite girls from all over and we teach them some self-defense moves on how to keep themselves safe. So one time I was teaching one of these classes, and one of the girls that was participating came up to me afterwards and told me that because of the things that we taught her in the class, now she feels safe and confident when she's out and about.
Everybody needs help sometimes. So if we don't help, then who's going to help us back? It's important to help other people. There's a family I take care of. They have a little girl who has a lot of problems, and I've taken care of them for years and years and years and years and years. And she's getting older and older and growing up, and she's in high school now. And I've helped them to figure out how to take care of all of her problems, different medicines and different doctors that they need to meet.
Helping is important for a lot of reasons, but it's especially important because I try to think about if you needed something or your family needed something, wouldn't you want somebody to help you or to help them? I can tell you one time there was a lady who had gotten an injury to her brain, and it made it so she couldn't walk anymore. So she was in a wheelchair, and her wheelchair was too big to get around her house. The hallways of her house were too narrow. She couldn't get her wheelchair down them, so she couldn't get to the bedrooms in her house anymore. So she had to sleep on the couch. Well, I wrote a story about her and what happened to her, and all of these really nice people in town got together and they raised money to help her buy a new house. And in her new house, the hallways were wide enough for her wheelchair, so she could get around and get to her bedroom. She could get to her two sons' bedrooms. She could get all over the house, and it was so much easier for her then to be able to deal with being in her wheelchair after that.
I think helping is important because when you help people, they think that it makes them feel like you care about them, and it makes them happy, and when people are happy, I'm happy. So when I first became a nurse, I used to take care of babies that were too small to go home with their parents. And I had a baby. I took care of her almost every time that I came to work. I fed her, I gave her medication, and she grew big enough where the doctor said she could go home, and her family was so happy that she was able to go home, and that was a good time.
Because there's a lot of people in the world who don't have the advantages that we have. We're very, very lucky in this country and in this city. We have doctors, nurses, we have all the food and water we need all the time, but there are plenty of people in the world who don't have any of that. I think one of my favorite times that I helped someone is when I was in the military. We went to a place called Guatemala. That's in Central America. And that's when we brought all those medicines to people who lived up high in mountains. And we had to carry all our stuff up these big hills. And they waited for hours in line to come and see a doctor and a nurse. And when they did, they were so happy, and that made us very happy.
Because I feel like helping a human being is what we're all meant to do in life. I think really being there for each other is probably one of the biggest values that I hold dear to my heart. So just helping people is really important to me. So I remember one time I was running a group program where I was going to help people with befriending their stress. And a woman had signed up for the group. She was really nervous to join the group. So I offered to work with her individually. And I feel like by being there for her and listening to her and letting her just show up exactly how she was with her fear, that really helped her out.
Right now I'm helping somebody named Nate Brimball who's going through a tough time with DIPG cancer. And we've been supporting him through his whole journey. Well, when people helped me when I had a brain tumor, I was inspired to help other people. So now from me helping other people, I hope to inspire others to help everybody else to try to keep a chain going.